What's up, y'all? It's Dennis here. Today's project, I'm going to be doing an oil change on my wife's van. I call it the Honey Wagon. It's a 2013 Toyota Sienna V6. Like I said, it's got the V6. I'm going to go over a couple things here in case you're wanting to do this yourself and save some money. That right there, that's where you pour the oil in. That's the oil cap. You unscrew it, pour the oil in, put it back, screw it back on. That's the dipstick right here. This yellow one, it says engine oil on it right there. That's how you check it. Some of the things that I'm using, I'm a Mobil 1 guy. You can use whatever oil you want. I'm using Mobil 1 5W30 full synthetic. I've got a Supertech oil filter right there. I haven't always used those, but I figured, if you're saving, I used to use the Frams and AC Delcos, stuff like that, different brands, but they're like, anywhere from $7 to $12 per oil filter, and that one is only like $3. So I've used it. I took a chance, used it like last 3 or 4 oil changes, and it works really good. And then I've got my 1/2-inch socket wrench right there, Pittsburgh Pro. I've got a 14mm socket and a 27mm socket. And then for these Toyotas, you need this specialty oil filter wrench. So that's what I'm using. Got my little screwdriver to help me change the O-rings in the filter. Got my gloves. I got some brake parts cleaner to help me clean up the oil. I also have this drip pan here. That pan, they're well worth it. They're well worth buying. Keeps you from getting oil all over the place and on your driveway. I think they're like $10. I've had that thing for probably 15 years. I got an old t-shirt. I try to save my old socks and t-shirts and stuff like that. Instead of throwing them away, try to use them for shop rags. Then I think that's about a 12 or 18 quart drain pan. So that's what I drain the oil in. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get started. And put my gloves on. These are just nitrile gloves. Keep all the oil off your hands. So I'm going to try to get a good shot of this. Right there where you see that oil dripping out, that's where the drain plug goes. It's this drain plug, it's got a 14mm hex head on it. So that's what you use. Let me try to get my camera lined up. Bear with me here, guys. Okay. I think that's about right. So to save time, I already drained out the oil. I'm also forgot to mention my ramps. I used the plastic Rhino ramps. I've also been using those for quite a while, many years. And they work really well. All right, so I got the oil plug back in. So now I'm going to take my specialty tool, put it up here, and I'm going to take my 27mm socket and loosen this cap up. Now some oil is going to spill down. You want to have that in place. You want to have your drain pan in place. That right there is why I like to wear gloves when I'm doing this. So, guys, you can take your cars to Jiffy Lube or whatever shop you want to change your oil. But I like to do it myself for two reasons. Number one, I like to make sure it's actually done and done right. And number two, I save a lot of money. I probably save anywhere from $10 to $30 per oil change, depending on what oil you use and where you're planning on taking it to get your oil changed. So, to me, that's worth it. So, we put the new oil filter in here, and it's going to be spring loaded, as you can see. And in the package with the oil filter, you have new O-rings. I'm just going to use the big one because I didn't take the bottom half off of that cap. And every brand of oil filter I bought has come with these new O-rings, whether it's Fram or whatever else is out there. Every one I've seen comes with them. So here's how I do it. Move this just a little bit. I just take a screwdriver and pry off that O-ring. Discard that. Just take some of the oil. You don't stretch this thing, but just coat it with some oil so it goes on. And just kind of easily work it back over the threads. Just make sure you get it right here in this little groove where it's falling down into. Okay. And wipe some oil on it. Okay. Yeah, it's a lot easier to do this if you have an automotive lift, but if you have the money to buy one of those, you're probably not worried about doing your own oil changes. So it starts getting a little tougher to turn once that O-ring catches in there. So I'm going to use my socket wrench again. And I can't remember what the torque specs on here, what they are, but I just get it snug. You definitely don't want to over tighten it and strip it out. You got to use common sense. And here is where the brake parts cleaner comes in handy. Take my rag and wipe all that off. All right, looks good. All right, guys. So I like to use these big 5-quart containers. I get them at Walmart, and they're like 20, I think 22 something $20 something for 5 quarts, and that's really cheap for full synthetic oil. And for some reason, if you buy it just in a 1 quart bottle, they're like $6 or $7 a quart, but it's way cheaper if you buy it in a 5 quart jug. And I know I'm going to use it anyway. I use the same oil in my Nissan Frontier as I do in this Toyota Sienna. And you don't want to over pour this oil in here because it'll spill out the oil fill cap and get all over your engine. If it gets on your exhaust, it'll start smoking. So just a quick tip for somebody that might be kind of new to this is go ahead and pour some oil in. You don't have to get every single little drop because it'll take forever, but you want to get as much as you can out of there. Okay. And after you pour some more oil back in, you want to look up under there and make sure no oil's dripping out, because I can tell you from experience, even though I am a genius, I have actually went to change the oil on one of my 4-wheelers and put the new oil filter in, and I ended up forgetting to put the drain plug back in, and I poured all the oil in and it wasn't registering on the dipstick, and I soon found out why. So I wasted about 2.5 or 3 quarts of oil, because once it goes in that drain pan, it's pretty much garbage, unless it's a brand new pan. But anyway, this one takes 6.4 quarts of oil, as you'll see in your owner's manual if you have one. And I think most of these Toyota, late model Toyota V6 engines are going to hold close to the same amount. But you always want to check in your owner's manual, and if you're not sure, call your dealer. But here's another little trick that I like to do. Get your shop rag and put it next to the oil fill cap, and that way you can just pick it up and lay it right on there. That way you don't drip oil everywhere. So that way that rag will absorb it. And then you take your cap, again, make sure that O-ring's on there. That one's looking kind of dirty. I'll probably replace it in the next couple of oil changes, but make sure it's snug. Again, you don't have to over tighten it, but you want to make sure it's snug so it doesn't come off. But that's pretty much it. After that, you want to start the car and put it on level ground, start it up and run it for, I don't know, a couple minutes, let the engine warm up a little bit, shut it down. Again, make sure it's on level ground, and then pull the dipstick and check the oil level. You want to pull it out, wipe it off, stick it back in there, then pull it out, and that should tell you your oil level. And if you're low or high, you want to adjust it from there. If it has too much, you obviously want to drain a little bit out. If it's too short, you want to add some. But that's why I like to measure it before I even get started with this. That way I know exactly how much to pour in there. But anyway, I hope this helps some of y'all out and helps y'all save some money like it does me. So anyway, if you like my videos, like and subscribe, and any questions or comments are welcome. Thanks a lot.